All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back. I don't know if you saw the interview, the movie, yesterday that Sony put in a bunch of independent theaters around the country, about 300. You could have seen it online. 750,000 people hacked it illegally. Not hacked it, but downloaded it illegally. It got hacked on the brain. Let's listen to what Barack Obama had said about a week ago about Sony capitulating, and then we'll talk to Harmon Kaslow about it all. So let's sit back and watch.
We cannot have a society in which some dictator someplace can start imposing censorship here in the United States. Because if somebody is able to intimidate folks out of releasing a satirical movie, imagine what they start doing when they see a documentary that they don't like.
Yeah, you know, unless the dictator's name is Barack Obama, and he blames the Benghazi terror attack on an anti-Muslim movie, and then apologizes for that movie, and makes a video apologizing for that movie along with Hillary Clinton. Gee, how soon everyone forgets. Joining us now is Harmon Kaslow. He's movie producer and entertainment attorney. And Harmon, welcome. Let's forget that for a second, but Sony, much to the surprise of many, made the movie available. It was released, it's shown in theaters, it was shown online, starting on Christmas Day, and it was, by all indications, a big success.
Yeah, you know, it's a little ironic, and I'm glad you bring up that whole point, because, you know, the role of the government in connection with Sony's response, I think, is almost as fascinating as the behind-the-scenes emails that were also disclosed. But, you know, I think that Sony has bungled this really from the outset. Actually, what I think they did yesterday was abhorrent. It was totally against the entrepreneurial spirit that these independent theaters who had the courage to show the film, the large theater chains, AMC and Regal, they bowed down to the threat and advised the studio they would not want to exhibit the film. The independent guys said for sure they did it because of the economic opportunity, but also, you know, because of the patriotic nature of standing up to the threat. And then what does Sony do? They make it available online. They make it so that you don't have to go support that independent theater. It's almost as if they were in cahoots with the theater chains that didn't have the courage to say, hey, don't worry, guys, we won't give the indies too much of the business on this.
Why would they do something stupid like that? And why would they punish the very independent theater owners that were bailing them out here?
They have bungled this, you know, from the outset. Number one, I'm with you. I can't believe that the federal government would jump to the same sort of conclusion that they did on Benghazi and put this as, you know, something that's coming out of North Korea. I can't believe that, number one. Number two is, you know, the fact that nothing happened on Christmas Day other than people went to the theaters shows you that the threat wasn't really viable from the outset. And then number three on this whole thing is, you know, why would they not have taken the precautions much earlier in the game? I mean, they had their Sony PlayStation, you know, they had that taken over by hackers, and here the personal data of tens of thousands of employees, former employees, leaked onto the internet. You know, I really think that, you know, the whole handling of this, certainly Amazon, Google, Facebook, the major players in the internet world never really suffer from these sorts of things. The iTunes incident was very isolated. And Sony, being an electronics company, I think let everyone down.
Well, and of course, my son tried to play his PlayStation yesterday and couldn't, so we knew about that very, very early on. But we got a minute left. Going forward, how is at all the movie industry affected by what just took place?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think that we saw kind of a cycle. Number one, we saw a lot of fear enter into it. There was the lack of understanding where this threat came from. I think people got very afraid it might affect our freedom of expression and what role the lawyers might play in dictating what movies should or should not be made. But the fact that Sony did put it in theaters, the fact that there were no incidents, I think that it'll just be an interesting part of the motion picture history, that the studios will be courageous enough to make movies people want to see and put them in theaters.
All right, hopefully you're right. Hey, Harmon, thanks for joining us. Always appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great holiday.
You too. All right, folks. And up next, we're going to change topics and talk about the violent protests in Oakland, near St. Louis, and the arrests here in New York with the founder and chief blogger at the Gateway Pundit. He's coming up next. Jim Hoft. Don't go away.